Ta-da!
Hey everybody, how you doing?
There's nobody here.
That you know of.
No, it gives me a count, like in the corner. We have all the ghost people watching.
StreamYard.
No, it's not just for StreamYard.
Well, tonight we're going to talk about Dracula. It may not take long.
And if you hear squeaking, that's my dogs.
True story.
I think.
It could be me.
Well, Dracula, as we all know, is a gothic horror novel written by one of my favorite people on earth, Bram Stoker. Well, actually his great-great-nephew or whatever it is now with the same name.
You're thinking the one that's currently alive is Dacre Stoker. He's like the great-great-nephew.
Bram wrote Dracula in 1897.
There you go.
But Dacre's wonderful. We met him at Paracon, and he's so great. And he's got his own wine, and it's just great.
Is it great?
It's great.
Was my joke too fruity?
You're retarded.
I thought it was funny.
Well, the novel was written mostly in the 1890s, and Stoker produced over 100 pages of notes, drawings, and they all came from folklore and history. Scholars suggested various figures as the inspiration for Dracula, including the Prince Vladimir the Impaler and the Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
Is that the chick that would bathe in people's blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But recent scholarships suggest otherwise. They're finding out he found the name Dracula in Whitby's public library while on holiday, selecting it because he thought it meant devil in Romanian. And then after the novel was published, May of 1897, reviewers praised its terrifying atmosphere, while others thought Stoker included too much horror. Well, can you imagine back then?
I mean, as far as I could tell, it was a pretty groundbreaking novel.
It's a wonderful read.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the 20th century, Dracula became regarded as a work of Gothic fiction. Scholars explore the novel within the historical context of the Victorian era and discuss its portrayal of race, religion, gender, and sexuality. Isn't it amazing how people can just pick things apart over the generations?
Yeah, I suppose.
And Dracula is one of the most famous works of English literature, which I totally agree with.
Mm-hmm.
The character of Count Dracula shaped the popular conception of vampires and influenced future
renditions.
How would you say future vampires?
Renditions?
Yeah.
Mm. Versions?
Versions. That's a good way to put it. With over 700 appearances across virtually all forms of media, the Guinness Book of World Records named Dracula the most portrayed literary character. Did you know that? The novel has been adapted many times and being produced as often as every week. So what do you got on it, Chels?
Well, I thought I would actually talk about the real life Dracula, or that's what they call him.
The man that he was based it on.
Yes, and that is Vlad the Impaler. So he was Vlad the Third, or Vlad Tepes, if I said that right. Probably not. He was, I don't know what this means. He was a prince of Wallachia 3 times between 1448 and his death in 1476 or 77. They're not 100% sure when he died. He is often considered one of the most important rulers in Wallachian history. And he's also considered a national hero of Romania. He was the second son of Vlad Dracula, who became the ruler of Wallachia in 1436. And his younger brother Radu were held as hostages in the Ottoman Empire in 1442 to secure their father's loyalty. His eldest brother Mircea and their father were murdered after John Hunyadi, regent governor of Hungary, invaded Wallachia in 1447. Hunyadi installed Vlad's second cousin, Vladislav II, as the new prince, and then he launched a military campaign against the Ottomans in the autumn of 1448, and Vladislav accompanied him. Vlad broke into Wallachia with Ottoman support in October, but Vladislav returned, and Vlad sought refuge in the Ottoman Empire before the end of the year. Vlad went to Moldavia in 1449 or 1450, and then later to Hungary. Lost my spot. Relations between Hungary and Vladislav later deteriorated, and in 1456, Vlad invaded Wallachia with Hungarian support. Vladislav died fighting against him, so Vlad began a purge among the Wallachian boyars to strengthen his position. He came into conflict with the Transylvanian Saxons, who supported his opponents, Dan and Basarab, who were Vladislav's brothers, and Vlad's illegitimate half-brother, Vlad Caligaro. I probably said that wrong. Vlad plundered the Saxon villages, taking the captured people to Wallachia, where he had them impaled, which inspired his epitaph. And then peace was restored in 1460. The Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II, ordered Vlad to pay homage to him personally, but Vlad had the Sultan's 2 envoys captured and impaled. In February 1462, he attacked Ottoman territory, massacring tens of thousands of Turks and Muslim Bulgarians. Mehmed launched a campaign against Wallachia to replace Vlad with his younger brother Radu, and Vlad attempted to capture the Sultan during the night of 1617, either the 16th or 17th of June in 1462. The Sultan and the main Ottoman army left Wallachia, but more and more Wallachians deserted to Radu, and Vlad went to Transylvania to seek assistance from Matthias Corvinus, king of Hungary, in late 1462, but Corvinus had him imprisoned. So Vlad was held in captivity in Visgrad from 1463 to 75, and during this period, anecdotes about his cruelty started to spread in Germany and Italy. He was released at the request of Stephen III of Moldavia in the summer of 1475, and he fought in Corvinus's army against the Ottomans in Bosnia in early 1476. Hungarian and Moldavian troops helped him to force Basarab to flee from Wallachia in November, and then Basarab returned with Ottoman support before the end of the year. Vlad was killed in battle before the 10th of January in 1477. So books describing Vlad's cruel acts were among the first bestsellers in the German-speaking territories, and in Russia, popular stories suggested that Vlad was able to strengthen his central government only by applying brutal punishments, and many 19th century Romanian historians adopted a similar view. Vlad's patronymic inspired the name of Bram Stoker's literary vampire Count Dracula. And let's see. So that was pretty much a summary of Vlad's lovely life. Lots of fighting, lots of death, lots of impaling.
Hence why he was called the Impaler. He was
Right.
a nasty person.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, as we all know, Dracula was based on a vampire. And the inspiration for that came from the folklore. And in Romania and such over there, that's pretty rampant. vampires have been around, and they've predated Stoker's Dracula by hundreds of years. Stoker adopted some characteristics of the folkloric vampires for his own, such as their aversion to garlic and staking as a means of killing them. He invented other attributes. For example, Stoker's vampires must be invited into one's home, sleep on Earth from their homeland, and have no reflection in mirrors. Sunlight is not fatal to Dracula in the novel. This was an invention of the unauthorized Dracula film Nosferatu in 1922.
Nosferatu?
Yep, but it does weaken him. Some of Stoker's inventions applied unrelated lore to vampires for the first time. For example, Dracula had no reflection because of folkloric concept that mirrors show the human soul. Some Irish scholars have suggested Irish folklore as an inspiration for the novel. For example, the 11th century High King of Ireland notes that in his childhood, Stoker was exposed to supernatural tales and Irish oral history involving premature burials and staked bodies, which was common. Count Dracula has literary progenitors.
What?
Like the vampire from 1819 includes an aristocratic vampire with powers of seduction. A whore vampire. The lesbian vampire of Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmelia in 1872 can transform into a cat, as Dracula can transform into a dog.
A dog? I thought it was a bat.
Dracula resembles earlier Gothic villains in appearance, with Miller comparing him to the villains of Anne Radcliffe's The Italian of 1796 and Matthew Gregory Lewis's The Monk of 1796. So vampires have been around for a long, long time.
Yep.
Long before Dracula was even dreamed up. And it still continues today. I mean, look at how many Dracula movies there actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a series, and we watched it many, many times. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. But it was vampires, and it was creepy as hell.
Was it True Blood?
No, this was back in the, I want to say late 70s, early 80s is when it came out.
Yeah, that was before my time.
It literally will make your skin crawl.
It'll literally make your skin crawl. That's a
and
feat.
I'm sure if someone my age was on here, they'd know what I was talking about.
If anyone watches this at a later time and you know what she's talking about, drop a comment.
I could Google it.
You could.
I
think one of the coolest things that transpired from Dracula and vampiric myths and folklore are the antique vampire hunting kits from the 19th century.
Oh my God, those are awesome.
I want one so bad. I've only seen a couple in real life, and I kick myself constantly for not buying one. Although I didn't know if it was real or not, because the real ones are very expensive.
I still know someone that has one.
But they usually contained a pocket pistol, wooden stakes with a mallet, a crucifix, jars for holy water, soil and garlic, a rosary, and an 1851 Book of Common Prayer. And there have been bodies dug up from like the 18th, 19th century that were staked to death because they were thought to be vampires. Mm-hmm.
Can't even imagine.
I know, right?
I think my favorite vampire movie, though, was The Lost Boys.
Oh, I love The Lost Boy. I'm still pissed off they're remaking it.
They are not.
Yep.
Well, you can kiss my ass.
I know, it's stupid.
There hasn't been a remake that's worth watching.
Not very many, no.
It's like, I'm sorry, but if you can't have writers that can think of things to write, maybe you need to get new writers.
That's the thing that kills me. As a side note, there are hundreds of thousands of stories and books that Hollywood could just do this and pick one and have a brand new movie. But instead they just keep remaking shit. It drives me crazy.
The worst vampire movie I think I ever watched was
Twilight?
Oh, Jesus, don't get me started with that. I think it was called Daughters of Darkness.
Worse than Twilight?
Oh, it was pathetic. It was one of Tom Selleck's very first movies he starred in.
Oh, I watched that. That was pretty bad.
Terrible, terrible movie. He even will tell you, worst movie ever.
That's pretty bad. So there were even because of the whole fear of vampires, which I think spawned grew after the release of Dracula, they actually based burial rituals off of the fear of vampires, and they called it apotropaic burial rites, and I probably said that wrong. It was involved various practices designed to prevent the deceased from rising from the grave. These included placing stones in the mouth or on the throat, using iron stakes through the heart, burying bodies face down, or even decapitation. These practices were often found in Eastern Europe, and they stemmed from superstitions and folklore about the dead returning to haunt the living. So stones were used to weigh down the body and prevent the soul from leaving or entering, or to literally keep the body from moving. Iron stakes, they believed placing a stake through the heart was a common way to kill the deceased and prevent them from rising. The practice of burying a body face down was often found in Poland and was believed to prevent the deceased from finding their way out of the grave. And deformity and decomposition, some researchers theorized that people with visible deformities or those who died in unusual ways were considered potential vampires and subjected to these practices. There was also double protection. And in some cases, a sickle was placed across the neck and a padlock was placed on the toe to ensure the body couldn't rise. And these practices were common in areas with a strong belief in vampires and other supernatural beings, particularly in Eastern Europe and the Balkans. They often involved burials of people who died unusually, such as in epidemics, by suicide, or before baptism. And the fear of the undead was a significant cultural element in these regions, leading to various rituals aimed at ensuring the deceased stayed in their graves.
Nice.
Ah.
Salem's Lot.
Oh, that's a Stephen King novel. They remade that like 2 or 3 times.
1979 version, not the 2004.
I think,
even though I gotta say it was good.
Didn't they just come out? I don't know if it was a movie or they made it into a TV series like last year.
Really?
Yep.
You know, there's been so many vampire movies. I mean, look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer, From Dusk to Dawn.
Hello, Dean Winchester was killed by a vampire.
Oh, here we go again. And then there was that funny one. What was that called? Once Bitten or something?
I have no idea.
You know what one I'm talking about.
Do I?
With the guy with the white hair.
Guy with the white hair? Is it bad that all I can picture is Doc Brown from Back to the Future?
He always played in the funny, dumb movies.
Doesn't narrow it down.
Don't matter.
We're really on top of our game today.
Do you remember Salem's Lot, Dad?
Kinda.
Never mind.
The name's familiar.
It had the one guy from Starsky and Hutch in it. He went around staking vampires.
Yes.
I have no idea. No idea what you're talking about.
Apparently, I'm the only one that don't know what I'm talking about either.
What if Bigfoot and a vampire were crossed? A vampiric Bigfoot.
You'd have a hairy thing running around trying to bite you.
That would be terrifying.
Be better than him trying to breed you.
Kevin would be disappointed.
You're right, he would be. Because he's prepared for that.
That's true. Well, we thought we would keep the whole Dracula scenario kind of short and sweet for you guys, but in other news, we are going to be in one of our very favorite places next week already.
I know.
We are going to be at the Ohio State Reformatory for Parapsychon, and I think it's the 16th and the 16th through the 18th or something like that. Well, it's next weekend anyway. 16th and 17th, that's right. So if any,
What day do we head down there?
We will head down there Friday morning.
Should have went down Thursday.
Yeah, Chelsea has a day job, unfortunately.
It's okay.
Yeah. It pays for
And
things.
Parapsychon is worth going to. And it's going to be even bigger this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they have rage rooms this year.
Do they really?
2 of them.
Interesting. And they're going to have the Hearse Fest back, which I'm excited about. I like looking at all the different hearses.
And the little
like
alien and Bigfoot will be running around. And
it's like a goth car show.
And they're going to have 5 different food trucks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's going to be good stuff.
And they're taking donations for pet food for the local shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to be there. We'll be in our same spot.
We'll be in the West Cell Block.
On the south side.
Mm-hmm.
Or south end. And we are at the very end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So come see us. Come get a reading. Come buy stuff.
Or just come say hi.
Loves hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Once Bitten. No, that's not it.
We're still trying to find this movie.
That's not it, Dad.
Okay. This is what popped up.
That's not it at all.
Well, is there anything else we wanted to share before we call it a quick night?
Yes. We want to wish our son and brother Jordan a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
And if anybody has any modeling jobs, please call him.
He would be really good at it.
I've always said he would be the best damn model around because he's drop dead gorgeous. We love you, son. Hopefully they'll come to Mansfield.
Yeah, they're close enough.
Mm-hmm.
And do we know what we're talking about next week?
You know, maybe next year we could go down on Thursday night and spend the night with them so we could see them.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. We'll have to see what happens. I'm trying to find what we're doing next week.
Well, that
I
shouldn't
looked
be
it up
hard.
earlier too.
You have CRS?
Looks like next week we are going to be talking about Greenfield and Augrays Village. Augrays Village.
Mm-hmm.
History and haunts. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about next week. It's going to be a great time. Good stuff.
Yeah,
That's
so
all
now
I
you
got.
got to do some research.
Oh, yay. I'll just wing it like I normally do.
Yeah.
But we are going to call it a quick night. We have some stuff going on behind the scenes, so we are going to get back to it. But we hope to see you guys at Ohio State Reformatory next week, and we'll be back on Tuesday night. So stay tuned for more stuff, guys.
And I'm sure we'll talk about Mansfield when we get back from it.
Absolutely.
Actually, we're going to try to go live while we're there.
Oh, yeah. If we can get reception, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we're calling it quits. So everyone have a great rest of your week. I would say stay warm, but I think we're actually going to get some good weather finally. And stay
That would be
spooky.
nice.
Right? We'll see you guys
I'm
later.
with Jordan, by the way, if anybody's wondering where my robaless son is.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, say bye, Mom.
See y'all later. Love y'all.